Two important topics, concepts for you to think about that swirl around my mind. One of the lines I've heard was, you'll hear that you need to walk on the path that is not well traveled. That's where the destiny and the gold and the whatever is. What it's basically saying is that if you want to change the direction of your life from being average and mediocre, you need to commit to habits that are very different from the average and the mediocre. Some of these ideas and some of these concepts might be deemed crazy. You're crazy. And I've said before that you have to do crazy things to become crazy rich. You cannot do the normal, expected, safe things, expect to be rich. It doesn't work like that. You need to become an outlier. So I sometimes have these ideas that go so far away from the norm and what's expected and what's decent. But in my head, when I think about these concepts, I'm like, but this makes practical sense to me and to other people like me. Some of the concepts I speak about is this thing of turning your child into an asset, because our children have become liabilities. We used to have children to become tools that work for us, like labor. You have children so that they herd your livestock, so that they clean the house, so that they cook. They become work. It's called child labor, whatever labels that are there outside today. But I think that's rubbish. I think that's what we were meant to have kids for. Let kids be kids. Kids should play, know their childhood. I'm like, that sounds like bullshit. And that sounds like what's going to keep your child mediocre. And that's going to keep your child as a liability in your life. One of the things that I've been saying lately, which upset people as well, is this concept that you need to rent out your children. So you need to quantify if your child is valuable at all. Obviously, if your child is a liability, no one will want to rent your child. But if your child is an asset, they're good at cooking, cleaning, they offer business advice, they offer labor, they have certain skills, they may be fun to be around. Your parents, the child's grandparents, the other parent, if you're not living with them, other people in your family will want to be with your child. And you'll be like, my child actually costs me about 3 grand a month. So if you'd like to rent my child, it'll be 100 rand a day. Then you can have the child and enjoy them. You can send them to make you tea, ask them to cook you lasagna, get them to tell you great stories, because my child is valuable. I want my child around. If you want my child to visit you and be taken from me, pay. And I've said that this might be a great solution to co-parenting and parents that don't live together. The parent that lives with the child must quantify the value of the child, and then the other parent must pay to rent this child. And that money goes towards the child's maintenance. The parent that is not paying that rent should not have a right to enjoy the benefits of that child. Same with your parents, same with aunts, uncles, cousins. If they want to enjoy your child, that is an asset. They must pay to rent that child, so you can take some of that money and use it to fund your child's life. Two things, like I said. The first one is co-parenting, single parenting. The second one is loss. They slightly linked, but not quite. I believe that single parenting is better than co-parenting. Being a single parent is better than co-parenting with someone else. In particular, if that someone else has got different values and has got a different parenting style. I've had to explain to my mother the privileges she had as a single mother. Understanding that single parents have a tough time, financially, emotionally, in terms of time and energy. I understand. Everyone wants help. Everyone needs help. But I was saying, when it comes to the decision making in our lives, choosing a school, choosing what to wear or how to dress us, choosing what beliefs to have, religious, cultural, etc., you had a monopoly over us. You didn't have to debate and discuss and fight with anyone. You would choose over the holidays where we go and not have to discuss or debate that with anyone, in particular my father. That is a privilege of single parents. No one tells them. Even if a teacher suggests, it's just a suggestion, they get final say. When you're co-parenting equally with the other parent, whether you guys are married and live together or whether you live apart, the other person has a 50% equal say, if not more. And you might want to dress your daughter like this, like what we've seen with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. Kim is happy to have, I think it's North, I'm not sure, is it Chicago? One of their daughters. Happy with the daughter being on TikTok. The father says no. I don't know if it's TikTok or Instagram, some social media platform. Kanye says no, I don't want this. That's co-parenting. The father is present. He says my daughter will not do this. The mother says I'm present. My daughter will do this. Now there's a clash of values and parenting style. Mom says, oh, you look great wearing that. Dad says that is inappropriate. Mom says, no, rugby is too dangerous. Dad says not only must he play rugby, he must also go to the shooting range and pick up boxing. Different values, different parenting styles, and they're constantly clashing. So from a raising a child perspective, I believe single parenting is better than co-parenting. If not, one parent needs to have some type of a greater opinion, power over the child, like a greater voting right. And society has given that to mothers. Mothers have got this privilege over children where they feel this is my child. I don't know why he wants to take my children. No, mama, these are not your children. They belong to both of you. He has the same rights as you legally and otherwise. But mothers have been given by society this right over kids. Dad's opinions, dad's decisions are just an opinion. It's like, no, mom gets final say, which is wrong. But again, this goes to co-parenting. Which parent is better with money, education? Maybe that parent should have more rights to teach the kids. Which parent is better with some athleticism, eating? Look, dad has got a great body, mom is a bit fetish, so maybe dad should be the one that dictates the diets, the exercise. Mom is smarter, so maybe she should decide on the schooling, on the homework, on the extra classes, etc. So find your strengths and be like, you will have a greater say here, I will have a greater say here. Single parenting is better than co-parenting. Again, it's unconventional, it's an unpopular opinion, but these are some of the thoughts that I have that go against convention. The second one is I believe you cannot truly and fully love someone until you are comfortable with losing them. What does that mean? In fighting for one of my kids, for access for my son, Uzulu Khosi, one of the things I had to learn after realizing that I was losing in the courts, I was losing in getting through to the mother, I realized that I needed to kill some of the love I had for my son. Killing the love would mean that I would have emotional stability, because I believe that love is a mental illness. I would have emotional stability so that I don't get crazy thinking about him. I don't miss him too much. If I see him and maybe he's got a scratch, if I see him and maybe he tells me as well, Dad, I've missed you, I don't break down and cry. I believe those are the things that are leading so many men suffering from parental alienation. It causes them depression and causes them to have suicide. A lot of men, in particular men, women as well, in particular men are killing themselves because they don't have access to their kids. And that's because they love their kids too much. And it becomes this mental illness where you go crazy. You end up kidnapping your child. I don't know if the movie's called Lerato. You end up kidnapping your child. You end up beating up the other parent. It's unhealthy. So I had to kill some of the love for my son so that I could have a healthier bond and relationship with him. So that later on when I see him, I'm not angry at his mom. So if later on, if he's like, Dad, I don't like you, I prefer mom, I don't get angry and say, fuck your mom and fuck you. No, I'm chilled. I believe the same thing applies to all types of relationships. And not only killing the love, but willing to lose. I do not think you can fully love your children, fully love your partner until you're ready to lose them to life, to other people, or to death. Because what happens when you're not scared to lose them is that you are imprisoned by constantly wanting to keep them close to you. And some of your decision making is unhealthy for them, and some of it is unhealthy for you. That's where you find parents that hog their kids. No sleepovers, my child can't go there, it's dangerous. And you shelter your child so much to a point where it makes them fragile, vulnerable, naive, and they actually become exposed to risk in the real world. Your child is meant to embrace some struggle. They're meant to get knocked. They're meant to get some scratches, to get burnt by the sun. They're meant to lose some sports games. It's what builds character. It's what prepares them for the real world. You must be willing to lose your partner so that if they threaten you, I will be with that guy if you don't give me more money, or I'll go sleep with another chick if you won't give me sex. You won't find yourself making dumb decisions to keep them. For some men, and you won't understand this perhaps, for some men it's the reason why they beat their women. They beat their women because in their heads they're like, if she's scared of me, if she's scared of leaving me because I might beat her or kill her, I get to keep her. And he's only doing that because he's so scared of losing her. He's like, if I don't hit her, she might be too free and she might leave. But if I hit her, she's scared. If she becomes this financial abuse, if I let her go work and have her own money and her own job, she might be too strong and leave and too independent. So I need her to be dependent on me financially. Some parents, in particular mothers, do this with their kids. Once their kids are making their own money independent, the mom feels like, but now the child doesn't need me anymore. But that's the point, mom. The child is meant to be empowered and independent so that they don't need you. They must come to you because they want to come to you, because they'd like some advice, because they maybe need a little top up, but they don't need you. And I don't know if you can have a healthy relationship with your parents, your siblings, your cousins, your aunts and uncles, your grandparents, your loved ones, or your lovers rather, your friends, and your children until you are ready to lose them. Once you are comfortable to lose them, even your opinions when you speak to them, what do you think of this? You give them an honest opinion. Because you're like, I don't care if this person gets angry. I don't care if they get moody. Oh, you told me I'm fat. Yeah, but you told me you don't approve of this. Yes, because I love you. I genuinely love you. I'll be genuinely honest. And if that means you end up cutting me off, disowning me, whatever, so be it. Otherwise, I will never fully be myself. I'll constantly be imprisoned. So just those two concepts is what I wanted to raise. Single parenting is better than co-parenting. I'm happy to have some of these conversations with people. The second one is you cannot truly and fully love someone until you are comfortable with losing them. Penuel the Black Pen. Have a great day. Cheers.